Cheers. All right, today I'm going to talk about how I figure out which one of the many ideas I have for a business or a product or a service, how do I decide what to pursue? It's something I've been asked a lot by like good friends and people online, and I thought, okay, this sounds like a good video to make because I have an answer I love and I'd love to share it with you. So for me, when I decide on should I pursue this idea, this business idea, this project, I usually start with one of my favorite pieces of Japanese Zen philosophy called Ikigai. And Ikigai basically helps you figure out the perfect sweet spot of harmony of life. And I might be remembering it a little bit wrong. I've twisted it for my own purposes and stuff, but hear me out. And what you can do is there's this really cool exercise that a lot of people are starting to do a lot more. And I suggest you do if you've never done it before and you're trying to figure out what idea should you pursue. Is this the one? So what you do is you need to think about yourself right now. You need to look within and you need to answer 4 questions. The first question is, what am I good at? And the reason why you should write what are you good at is you need to know what you're already doing. If you're going to pursue some sort of idea or something, it helps in the beginning to be able to know a little bit. But I want you to be a little bit confident about yourselves. No, not a little bit. I want you to be a lot confident about yourselves. I want you to think, what are things that I'm either good at right now or I believe I could be good at if I focused on it and I made it like my number one priority? What could I be good at? So that's a way to look at that question. You don't have to already have those skills. It's something you think you can obtain. Because I start a lot of projects and businesses where I'm in over my depth, but I know I can learn within a certain amount of time to be where I need to be. That's totally fine. Once you've answered that question, and you have some open-ended ones that say, I could be good at marketing. I could be good at graphic design if I applied my skills a little bit more, that kind of stuff. Then what you're going to do is ask the question, what am I passionate about? What do you get excited about? What industry or style of entertainment or topic just fires you up? Where do you feel like you could just talk about or think about for extended periods of time? Because if you're in that particular industry as an entrepreneur, as a creative, as a service, whatever, you'll never be bored. That's what you're trying to list out. So they can be things like topics like music, but it can also be as like niche as, for me, I love the idea of a customer experience. It's a topic that I'm obsessed with as a marketer and a technology person. I just love to imagine like, how can you improve that experience from the second someone opens a box, like the way when you open an Apple box, they spent so much extra money on building these beautiful boxes that open really well because they know it's about the experience. It's that kind of stuff. Or you go check into a nice hotel and there's a bottle of champagne and a letter with your name on it. That's all experience focused. I'm passionate about that. Find what you're passionate about. The next one is, what does society need right now? Right now, we're in a pretty complicated world. The elections just went through and our nation of the United States feels very divided. And that's not a crazy opinion at all. That's a fact of life. And as someone who wants to bring light into this world and goodness to this world, what do you think the world needs from you right now? What do you think your local community needs from you? Let's say you have all these awesome ideas and you're dreaming of this whole new life and these things. What do you think exists in the world today that is needed? Doesn't matter if you don't think you can solve it. It's just important. It's raining a little bit. It's just important to write these out so you become aware of the world's problems, because almost every successful business on planet Earth solves a problem. It's like one of the most simplistic ways to look at business is it's problems and solutions. You sell solutions. They can be physical things. They can be services. They can be subscriptions. They can be conversations or coaching, there's always a problem and a solution. So what are the problems you're aware of right now? Once you list out a few of those, you're ready for the last question. The last question is, what are people willing to pay for? With everything in mind, what do you think people are to pay for? This is a thing you need to think a little bit about. You need to look out in the market. If you want to know if people are paying for something, once you have an idea, Google it. Go to SEO tools or Google Trends or like a tool like Ubersuggest, Ahrefs, and look up if people are looking this stuff up. Go to Reddit, search a question based on what you think you could solve. So perfect example is, let's say you have an idea for a game on the mobile app store, which there's a lot of those, and you think it's something people are interested in. And a perfect trend right now is this growing trend of low stimulation games, like almost like relaxing games. It's becoming more and more common and popular on the app stores, I've noticed. I think it's an antidote to all this gamification and boing, boing, boing marketing that's happening with all these loot crates and just like game companies just shining silver coins and gold coins in your face and trying to get you addicted to the platform. People are asking for games that are calming to them. So what you could do is you could search on these platforms and search like calming games. And if you see a lot of traffic and you see a lot of interest in something, and maybe you see there's a gap in the market that you believe you can fit, you're like, oh yeah, there's a few big games, but none of them have the color scheme that I want, or none of them bring back the magic Club Penguin, whatever it is. It's up to you to see if your idea applies there. And when you look at Ikigai as a whole, and you have all these ideas and all these things, you can help go through them and you can eliminate the ones that don't check out the most boxes. You could list out a bunch of different ideas and answers to this, and then see which ones have a thread through all the 4 questions, where you go, after answering these 4 questions, it passed, and there's a positive outcome for me in the sense that I'll get paid for it, because at the end of the day, for a business, you need to make money to survive. You need to make money to keep doing what you want to do, and that's what you're good at, and that society's asking you for. So you got to make sure you can make money on it and see if people are already offering it, stuff like that. Don't be worried. If you see people doing your exact idea, that's a good sign. It's a good sign because it means people are paying for it. You just need to make sure there's enough room in the market. If your idea is to be a newspaper in a small town, there's really only room for one. So if there already is a newspaper, and even then, it's so sad and unfortunate, but these small newspapers are being just totally destroyed by the big conglomerates and kind of the internet stuff. It's really sad to see. And so you got to make sure you pick the right one, the right angle. And then here's another philosophy that I've added in that I've never heard anyone inject into Ikigai. And it's Wu Wei, or Wu Wei. I might be saying it wrong. I do not speak Chinese. And it's ancient Chinese philosophy, a part of Taoism. And it's basically about working with the way of the universe. It's about following that magical thread in the universe guiding you in the right direction. Maybe some days you see a magic number, you hear something and you go, huh, really makes you think. You go, I should pursue that, or this feels right. That I like to believe that exists in this world. I felt it many times, and many ideas will pull you in that way. And if you've vetted it with the Ikigai system, and you're the one to do it, and it can be paid for and all of that, then you can see if the universe is pulling you in the direction of it. And it's important to do this when you're early, because a lot of times we start a business based on assumptions we make about what society needs. And a lot of times with the Ikigai, you're going to get wrong the part about society. You're going to misunderstand what the need is in the market. And a lot of times the universe will tell you the answer. They'll say, hey, you have this offer, or you have this product, or you have this piece of art, but you start noticing based on customers' feedback, or you see it you see a trend you go to a convention and you hear people talking about a specific idea about what they think's coming next, and you go, I can see that, I can visualize that. You can see the thread of where things are going. And if you work with Wu Wei a little bit, which I was taught by one of my mentors, who he's this very smart systems designer for huge, like Fortune 100 businesses. They pay him hundreds of thousands of dollars to think about their business and come up with alternative ways to structure and run things. He's super smart, and he taught me Wu Wei. And he made it clear that it's really important to let the universe tell you what the right direction is. Sometimes you have to listen. You have to be willing to throw your idea out in the world. That's super protective. I understand why you're protective about it. I understand why you would be a bit offended if someone told you some feedback about your idea. But you gotta be willing to take the feedback, know when you should apply it, know when you should ignore it, and detach your ego from this project. Because if you let your ego get destroyed after you get feedback from an investor or a customer, you're not going to survive in this crazy capitalistic world. You got to be willing to play ball with others. You have to be willing to let the market tell you. And in capitalism, it's super straightforward. It's usually what just people pay for. Someone might tell you something, but they might make different decisions based on their payments. We like to think we're very logical as people, but a lot of the decisions we make are mainly emotional and instinctual. If you get feedback from someone saying they hate your color scheme, but then they come back and buy more things from you, that's just their personal preference. They're still coming back to you. And if anything, the bad color scheme made them never forget you for your service or something. So you got to know when to apply what they're saying. Because a lot of times your most critical customer might be a minority, but many times if you get a review on your product online or something, usually it's safe to assume there's 100 other people who think that same thing. It's a good policy to think. If you're ever on a product and you're looking at reviews and they look like legit reviews, that person is like the 1% who actually went out of their way to type up a review and submit it on the internet, because we all know not everyone does that. So yeah, that's the two-step process I like to apply: Ikigai plus Wu Wei. It's funny because it's coming from a white guy on a paddleboard, and I'm trying to tell you about like Japanese and Chinese philosophy. I don't understand this stuff to like a super profound level, so I'm not going to pretend I do, but I'm totally allowed to hear beautiful concepts and beliefs from around the world and apply it to my own life and how I see fit. And that's exactly what I've done here. And I encourage you to apply this Ikigai and Wu Wei in your life, but I encourage you to also do it in your own way. Okay, I finished filming the video like 10 minutes ago, but right as I was paddling back to shore, this one thing came to me about Wu Wei. Wu Wei is like the opposite of this hustle porn, this like a rise and grind culture that has just absolutely infected the entrepreneurial communities over the last couple of years. These scam artists teaching you the new mindsets you need and all that. Wu Wei is the opposite of that. So if you hate what those guys are saying, you got to look into things like Wu Wei, because it's telling you to work with the universe, not to be God himself and like force into the world your like ideal version of what it looks like to you. If you want to fight the world every day and resist what's coming to you, then by all means, do the hustle porn, wake up at 4 a.m. every day and out weightlift your competitors. Do that, by all means. But if you try listening to the world every now and then, hearing what others are telling you, using a bit of your empathy, you can actually find solutions and like profitable business ideas by people just telling you things and you listening, or the world signaling you in a certain direction. So don't have your blinders on at all times. Focus is great. Do not get me wrong. Focus is absolutely required to take an idea to an executed product or service in the market. But have your blinders like every now and then, open up and see the world. Go from focused to aware, from focused to aware. You can't have one without the other. And if you're too focused all the time and you're not listening to what the world's telling you and what the market's telling you, then you might just dig a hole and pursue an unprofitable idea and you'll be miserable and broke. But if you have your eyes open and your ears open at all times, you might hear something a few times that leads to you becoming that multimillionaire, live the life you want, that you've dreamt of. And the answer lies both within you, the more the Ikigai stuff, and without and out in the universe, the more second half of Ikigai and the Wu Wei stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm a brand new channel. Please like and subscribe it and ask a question if you have any questions. Right now there's less than 10 of us watching these videos, so feel free to ask me anything. Seriously, like, when do you get that opportunity to talk to YouTuber on the other side and say, tell me, talk about this? And even if I don't know much about it, I'll try to talk about it, but I'll tell you if I don't know much about it. So please feel free to send any questions over, and you can subscribe on the way out. All right, have a beautiful day. Bye.